What did we do without? Yeah. You're doing a great job.
Good evening. It is 5 o'clock. We will go ahead and start our meeting. I'm going to go over the agenda real quick for everybody so you know how the evening's going to progress. We will have our roll call, election of officers, the approval of the minutes. We have one case B2287. We have old business, new business, and then we will have our adjournment. We will go ahead and start our roll call. Mr. Green?
Marcia Gradner,
Here.
Steve Dowling. Steve, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay. Kenny Gray,
Here.
Dale Cole. Jason Roberts is absent. Terry Matney is also absent. David Fisher. I see David is here. Sheldon Dines.
Here.
Stephanie Adams. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we will have the election of officers, and we will turn that over to Mr. Green as well.
First, we need to elect the president for 2026. Do we have any nominations for president?
Motion, we stay as is.
Is there a second on Mr. Cole's?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on leaving the officers as they are. We don't need a roll call vote on that. We will just vote by show of hands or request of anybody else, unless you want to discuss it. No. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Sorry. Motion passes. Officers will remain the same for 2026.
Okay, thank
Turn it
you.
over to you.
Okay. Next up, we have case B2287. It's a request by a Michael French doing business as Camp Messy LLC to rezone from agriculture to highway business for approximately 5.87 acres. And I will just go through the steps on this for you. I will ask Mr. Green to give us a summary of the case. Then Mr. French or whoever is representing Mr. French will come up to the podium and has 10 minutes to make, up to 10 minutes to make a presentation. After that, we will have 20 minutes total for anybody who is in favor of the project. Each speaker needs to come up to the podium, sign in and state your name. You have up to 3 minutes, and America will make sure and let us know when those 3 minutes are up. Then you will all return to your seats. Then after that, anybody who is not in favor of the project, we have a total available 20 minutes. Any speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes. And after that, we will, I'm sure many of us will be taking notes, then we will discuss and ask the applicant to come back up and answer any questions that we may have. So please remember, this is an official meeting. So once you've spoken and you go back to your seat, unless you are asked to come back up, that is, you're done, okay? So with that, and then we will make our decision that is referred to the commissioners. So with that, Tom, do you want to give us a brief summary, commentary? Oh, shoot, forgot the minutes. I got so
I make
excited.
a motion to set minutes as read.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Thank you. Okay, Tom, then can you give us a summary and commentation that you have on B2287?
This is a request to rezone approximately 15.87 acres
Okay.
from agricultural to Highway Business 1 or Highway Business 2. The difference between Highway Business 1 and Highway Business 2, there are some subtle differences between the two, mostly being a minor feeder road and some of the road requirements. If you are an HB1 or an HB2, both would require a commission approval, which would be another meeting, a different meeting than just a zoning meeting for the road. This would be a meeting to determine if changing the area to an HB1 or HB2 meets with the recommendations of our adopted ordinances, everything that goes into those ordinances to determine if this would be an HB1 or HB2.
Hey, the applicant, would you please approach the podium and state your name? And I think you've already signed in, did you? Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Commission members.
And you have that little box. Is it turned on?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it picking me up?
It should be, but you need to, maybe you might need to stand a little closer. A bit closer.
Is this better?
Can everybody hear in the back okay?
Thank you. I'm Mara Hoff, a partner at Defer Varan, 1315 Broad Street in Newcastle. I'm representing Camp Messy LLC, the applicant in this case. With me tonight is Michael French, one of the owners of the company. Camp Messy is a proposed upscale camping ground immediately adjacent to the Messick Road entrance to Summit Lake State Park. We applied for a commission-approved use within the current ag zone. Upon review, Mr. Green requested that we also apply to rezone the lot to HB1 due to the projected size of the enterprise and potential future plans to include a small general store that would supply campers with their basic necessities. So my understanding is that both of those requests would be before you tonight. The commission-approved use would be contingent upon the commissioners approving the rezoning as well, that they would both be triggered at the same time. If we need to fix that procedure later, I can talk to Mr. Green. There is an adjacent parcel by the state park entrance that is already rezoned to a business use. It is general business. I believe that's the future site of a bait and tackle store.
Yeah.
So there is precedence for recognizing the commercial uses that supplement enjoyment of the state park. Camp Messy will do exactly that by creating a picturesque, comfortable, and fun place for families to camp while enjoying the hiking trails, fishing, and nature provided in the park. In 2020, when COVID hit, camping became immensely popular, giving 48 million households a safer activity to do while still leaving the house. Statistics show that this desire to camp has not fallen off since then. In fact, younger generations are driving a huge increase in camping, with 81 million households camping in 2024. 5.8 million of those 81 million was for their first time. The economic impact to local economies from camping in 2025 is estimated to be $61 billion. Henry County deserves to receive some of that major financial impact. Camp Messy will not be your normal campground. It will be focused on high-end camping, providing luxurious and modern bathhouses, shelter house, and laundry facilities. Recreational activities will abound, from pickleball to horseshoes to sand volleyball. There is one adjacent residential parcel who has voiced concerns. We are willing to add a landscaping buffer along their property line of trees or hedges to either decrease or eliminate that view shed, if that is a condition you would like to place on that this evening. We have received no other responses to our notice. In making a decision on a proposed change in zone maps, the commission, as you well know, is supposed to pay reasonable regard to a number of items, one of those being the comp plan. Part of the comp plan says that your decisions are to be driven by the need to improve on existing conditions rather than just stay stagnant, and to seek solutions that bind the rural parts and the urban parts together rather than pitting them against one another. Camp Messy would be a fabulous way to bring economic development to Henry County in a way that is bound to both preservation and enjoyment of the state park. The existing campground conditions in Henry County are somewhat dated, and they do not have enough available space to meet the current demand. Other criteria you are to consider is whether it is compatible with the conditions and character of the existing development. Clearly, it is very compatible with the state park. Will it have an adverse effect on property values throughout the jurisdiction? Of course it will not. It is bringing positive economic impact to Henry County, not a negative one. And then just responsible development and growth. Ultimately, the rezoning request is a matter committed to the sound legislative discretion of the county commissioners, and it's not controlled by any one of those 5 standards. But this is a reasonable, responsible step in the economic growth of Henry County, and we respectfully request your recommendation of approval to the commissioners. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. Or if you would like to hear from my client directly, he is also signed in.
You have a total of 10 minutes, so.
Can I ask a question? What is the current usage of the campground at the state park? I mean, is it,
This is
Hi.
Michael French.
I'm Michael French. I'm the owner of the property in question for the rezoning. And your question was the current state of the
Is in
campground,
capacity.
the capacity?
current use? I mean, is it at capacity the majority of the summer or?
Yeah, it's been full capacity for at least the last 6 years. To where when they start opening up for the bookings, they're full almost immediately. And as we've been out working on the property, we see constantly campers coming in without reservations and that are turned away and turned around, and forced to look for somewhere else to camp.
We have a camper trailer, and we camp quite a bit. What kind of facilities? I assume you're going to have a variety. You're talking about full hookups and sewer and versus what the current campground has, a state park campground. We've never parked there.
Yes, every site will have full hookup, water, electric, and sewer.
And what the state park campground, what does it have currently?
It's water and electric at every site, or almost every site. Some of them are primitive, and then I believe they have a handful of full hookups.
Okay. And you're proposing to put how many sites here?
The most that I can put in will be 108. I don't know that we'll reach that number, depending on spacing, but that is what we're projected for right now.
And would these be concrete pads or?
No, not in the beginning. It'll be gravel pads, and then as we move forward, we're looking at putting concrete pads in.
And you're proposing like a camp store?
Yes, it's just a general store that you'd see at most campgrounds, something small with just typical camping necessities.
And you'd have like live bait?
It's in the talks. We have a business up the road from us that is doing the bait now, and we're trying not to be counter competitive against each other. So it will just depend on if they've showed a interest in doing away with their bait. And so, that may be something that we will offer in the future, but that's not definitely in our plans right now.
Where is your current store?
The Summit Lake Marketplace,
It's to the north of 36,
north of 36, yes.
because that Get Jiggy With It, which is on the south side, Messick.
Yeah, Getting Jiggy With It went out of business, and then
That's what I
they
thought.
currently have the Barber Shop, which is out of Greensboro. They have a vending machine at the old Massengale store currently, providing some small fishing bait.
Okay, have you done any studies relating to the demand? I mean, is there a need? I mean, you said that the state park campground is usually full during the peak season.
There is a need, in my opinion. Me and my wife, we toured and visited every campground in Henry County, several in Madison County, Delaware, and Wayne County. The ones in Henry County are somewhat outdated, and all of them were full with waiting lists, except for 2 of them, and they only had a handful of spots available.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question about your sanitary, how you handling that?
We're going to put it into septic tanks, multiple septic tanks, and then I'll have a contract with Doodah, which is right down the road, to pump those out when levels reach. I have enough capacity to hold the state required 3 days worth, and then an additional day.
Yeah, there were approvals that have already been sought on that from the state.
Have you talked to the state about, there's a treatment plant there that's way underused, really, about the possibility of doing a deal with them? And
I have not spoke with them yet. That has been an idea of mine to do that, but I haven't crossed that bridge yet.
okay, it would make sense.
Sure.
Because they need the material to keep the thing working the way it should be. And usually they don't have enough load to do that. So it'd be a positive to them if you could work it out. And water will be what, wells or?
Yeah, I have 2 6-inch wells drilled, where one well will be enough to supply the campground. I'm doing an additional well so that in case of a pump failure, that we can valve off and continue providing water to each site.
There again, there's water that's treated right there. If you could work something with them, you'd have treated water.
Right.
So, but you have to do what you can do.
You said, I think we have a, go ahead.
In looking at my main concern. There's already a lot of traffic on 37. And you've been out there on 37. It looks like it's going to do nothing but increase the road. What's your plans on helping to eliminate this? Or is it possible to help anyway?
It will definitely increase the traffic flow. That is during the camping season. That is almost constant traffic flow, 7 days a week around the clock, in and out of the park already. With us offering the permanent camping from April through November, that the campers will be sitting there, not going up and down the road as often, and it would just be mainly car and truck traffic. We see a lot of the same campers going into the state park weekend after weekend. So our hoping that those that are doing that will take advantage of our park to camp and set up permanently. And so that, there's no doubt that it will increase the traffic flow, but I don't think it'll be noticeable.
So, back to what you're saying, I guess, is this a permanent situation to where these campsites is going to be there, year round?
Yeah, April through November, yes, but not once the weather turns and, we'll shut water off, it will be down for the winter.
I think he brought up something about sewage. What have you got planned as far as sewage or?
Multiple holding tanks, and then have Doodah, which is a local, company just down the road from me, will pump those out, when levels reach the need to be pumped.
Electricity?
Excuse me?
Electricity?
Like, yes, I've talked to Heath Hutton at their REMC and have given him my plans along with my electrician, and we're on the same page as they can provide it and provide enough to where we won't have disrupted service.
So you have individual pads in for electricity?
Yes.
I might make a comment about Messick Road. Originally, when we did Summit Lake, there was quite an extensive improvement of Messick Road. They repaved it, did drainage. It just needs to be maintained, obviously, because we knew with the park what was going to happen. So you might try to work with the commissioners a little bit. I don't know. I'm not saying they won't work with you, but try to keep that maintained properly so you don't have a problem with that road. There's a lot of traffic, but that was really changed when the commissioners back at that time did a lot of work on that road, additional right of way, drainage and everything else. So I don't
I've had an
think,
extensive drainage plan drawn up and I've submitted that through Tom and his department. It was looked at by the county engineer and approved. And that will be in our best interest as well as to work with the commissioners to make sure that we do maintain and help protect the roadway and the surrounding area.
yeah, because the entrance would be one of the things that would, with large campers, it takes
Right.
quite an entrance to get in and out. So that would be something that I'm sure you'd work with commissioners on, but Messick Road was designed for that park and whatever happens.
Did you provide a layout of what you're doing? Because I don't see.
Yeah, there would have been a site plan in our application.
I don't see it. Is it new stuff?
Well, since when we realized that this really was an issue to have it rezoned versus and I talked to Michael about it. We were going to do the CAU and the rezone together as we often do where it was applicable, because the rezone for this was so much different, going from an agricultural zoning all the way to
I'm talking.
a highway business zoning. We thought it would be best to get this out of the way first before going with the CAU. Plus, campgrounds of this size are approved by the state. So we haven't seen anything from the state. We have to zone it correctly. Then he has to go to the state with everything and then bring that back to us to approve it, because we may want to have suggestions as to how to change it. So the state has to be involved, which Michael knows. We've talked about that. So that's why that wasn't included with this one, is we're not really at that point, other than to state how big it's going to be, what the area is, and to give a brief outline.
Is this two different layouts or?
No, that's, I can answer for him, but that's all one, because that's,
This is the one that with our retention pond here.
oh, you didn't give the one where you split it for me. So it was two separate pages. Yeah.
I have.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
no,
I'm
let me
sorry.
look it- Nope,
No.
yep, there it is. Be like that. That's the property there. This is the south.
Oh, that is, yeah.
Being here currently, this is an open area, and this is the state park being here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still lost.
Okay.
So it's all this?
Yes, Yeah, it did fit on one page, on one piece of paper.
Okay, does anybody want to look at this?
I would like to,
And you have the map of the site.
But not,
not,
No, not that.
oh,
not like the layout. We don't.
No, you don't have the layout.
So is this seasonal camping? I mean, you can rent overnight or during peak season, some campgrounds have a minimum of 2 nights or 3 nights. Or do you have like monthly rates or seasonal rates, or how are you going to?
We do. Our business plan is to have a mix of permanent from April to November where they rent the site out for the whole season. And then have the in and outs on the weekends or even during the week. I've had several people be from the Richmond Hospital where they are traveling nurses. They have spoke that they would be interested in a campground of this type. Where they're driving several hours to get to work now, then they would like to camp there and then drive to work. So there would be some in and outs as well as seasonal camping.
How much space is there between the sites? And I mean, are they accommodate like one vehicle?
The standard site at a campground for the industry standard is 20 by 40 feet. Our sites are going to be 50 by 80. So there'll be where a lot of the campgrounds you go to, you'll see where it's slide out to slide out almost.
Right.
Ours will have room in between them for privacy and area for relaxation.
And like in our case, we pull a camper trailer, yeah. Would there be room for 1 or 2 vehicles, or do you have an overflow for visitors, or how's that work?
Yeah, we'll have a parking lot and there'll be room for two vehicles at each site or a vehicle on a boat if that's what they choose to do.
I say general parking is here near like all the recreational and the playground.
Okay, and this is Messick Road, so the main entrance is, you have one main entrance and exit, or?
There'll be one main entrance that you was looking at right there, and then at the north end at the park, there will be a entrance there, but it will be gated off and will only be used if and when necessary.
And do you have a dump station?
A dump station for the RVs?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, there'll be a dump station that when they pull in, I'll be requiring them to dump and clean out before they come. And then they'll be hooked, each site will be hooked up to where they, each site will go to the septic tanks then.
Okay, and each site will be full hookups, or just the majority of them full?
Every site will have a full hookup, electric, water and sewer, which isn't offered at any campground in the area.
That is unusual. Do you have tent camping?
We have an area, we have a green space area for tent camping. And then through part of the rules, if there's kids, they'll be allowed to put a tent up at their camper, but have to take it down during the day.
How tall would this berm be with the neighbor that you alluded to? Which I think we have a letter of concern of a neighbor. How do you address that? I know you.
We're open to negotiating that, whether that's, 4 feet of dirt and evergreens on top of it, or just a hedge that'll grow. We're open to suggestions.
Is that the neighbor to the south, or?
Yes, between the park and the turn in.
I got another question. This is a big deal. All these campers here. We got a lot of cleanup here. Who's going to be responsible for cleaning this up when you have, especially in the summertime? Are you going to have people designated for cleanup, or?
We're gonna have 2 campground hosts and an on-site camp manager. My wife and I, we just live 4 miles away from the park. We'll be obviously heavily involved with it. We'll during the summer and the peak season, we will hire students or young adults looking for work to help maintain and clean as well. And then as we grow, we'll add positions as far as maintenance crew and things of that nature.
Well, I've used the Mount Summit Park. Big place. A lot of work, a lot of people to maintain, mow, dump trash, so on and so forth. And in your prime season, which, you're talking about in the summertime, I could see a lot of traffic there as far as trash and stuff like that's concerned. You're talking about a lot of people to maintain,
Sure.
you know, not just you and your family. It takes a lot of people.
Right. Yes.
But that's, I can see that. Looks pretty big to me.
It's a big project. Yeah.
Uh,
Excuse me for interrupting, but I think they've presented what they can present now. It's time to listen to pros and cons. And then from the questions that the audience may have come up with, then you can ask some of these questions and they can discuss it because there'll be more, I'm sure.
Sure, we're available whenever.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we will ask those that would like to speak in favor to come up to the podium, sign in and state your name. And we have a total of 20 minutes. Each speaker has 3 minutes. And America, you got your timer going? Okay. Okay, anybody that wants to speak in favor?
Is this the latest edition, Corey?
It is.
Thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Corey Murphy with the Economic Development Corporation. But before you, I'll wear my tourism hat. We're responsible for tourism marketing. And I've given you our official travel guide. We publish these on an annual basis. I would encourage you to turn to page 11. We want to add to this inventory, and that's what this project does. And I can also tell you that Summit Lake, when we've studied the tourism sector, Summit Lake State Park is the #1 reason people visit Henry County. Visitation from to the park in 2013 was in the 200,000 annual range. Last year, it was about 350,000 coming to visit the park. Their campground is full, is at capacity, and this is complementary to that tourism asset. And the type of customers that Camp Messy would attract are exactly the type of people that we want in our community spending dollars. Visiting the restaurants, filling up with gas and recreating. And so I would encourage you to give this project due consideration. Thank you.
I'm Scott Johnson, 4746 East US 36 in Moreland. If I stand on the roof of my house, I can see the gate to the park. Through the years, I've seen a lot of changes. I've lived about 60 years out of my 64 where I live, was raised there. I've saw bait shops go in. Wasn't real fond of it, but it hasn't been a problem. And I think you'll give the gentleman a chance to add to Henry County. I'm all for it.
My name is Cindy Spade, and I grew up in Prairie Township. And I'm also on Facebook where I'm involved and see a lot of people who are looking for jobs. And a lot of young people are also looking for jobs to help themselves during the non-school year. And this project would open up a lot of opportunity for many different types of people. So I am for this.
You. Anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the project? Okay.
Hi, I'm Dale French, and of course, I'm biased towards this project. I have nothing in it except my son's wanting to get it started. And the point of trash got my attention real quick. If there's one thing about trash that Michael knows anything about since he was this high, is to pick up trash. We spend 10 minutes every morning around my property picking up trash that people throw out the window and think nothing of it. And you go around Michael's property and it's pretty much cleaned up. So through the years, he's learned to pick up trash, and we know trash don't look good for anything. And so for anything that he could probably guarantee at all of it is there won't be a trash pit there like some people do maybe expect, and there's going to be trash because where there's people, there's trash, and there's people like us that pick it up. And I think that's instilled into Mike's plans, and I don't think that'll ever be a problem there. So thank you.
Okay. Anyone else that wants to speak? Okay, at this time, we will hear up to 20 minutes of those that are not in favor of this project, and each person has 3 minutes to speak, and please come up to the podium.
Then I'll go.
So my name is Summer Gibson. I did submit a letter, so I don't know if it made it to all of your packets, but I live not just a mile on the north tip of Summit Lake. So basically in between Summit Lake and Prairie Creek. I don't know if any of you, I'm sure you've all watched the newspaper with all the issues going on at Prairie Creek right now. It is a mess. I would encourage you to get on TripAdvisor and look at all the comments that's going on. I won't go over them, but they are in my letter. We fear that this proposed RV park could mirror those issues that are happening at Prairie Creek that are negatively impacting the character and the safety of that immediate community. For me and my husband, our most immediate concern is the presence of unfamiliar visitors and the safety of the local children, including our daughter. Our daughter is an avid runner, and she runs on rural roads in Henry County, especially in and around Summit Lake State Park, and she often runs alone. Additionally, the Blue River Valley cross-country teams train in this area, making safety a priority for many of the families. Beyond the safety, we value the strong sense of community and the rural character that defines Henry County. Preserving the tranquility of Summit Lake and its surrounding areas is essential to maintaining the quality of the residents and protecting the natural environment that generations have cherished for years. We believe that the development should align with these values rather than compromise them. We respectfully ask the commission to consider these concerns of the potential impact on our community. And we're asking that you just take that into consideration before approving this request.
Okay, thank you.
We ask you questions.
Mm-mm.
see.
Okay, I sent a letter to the planning commission, but I'm sure it didn't reach your packets because it was very late today. Oh, it did? Oh, thank you so much. So I can really go through this fast. I used to live in Delaware County. I used to live on the west side. They had like horse trails and a road, and then my property was there. So I've been around that lake. I've been around that campground. That's not what we're looking for. I understand it looks like they're targeting with this particular campground a different type of clientele and a different type of, I guess, layout. But to me, the layout is extremely tight. And if you figure it per acre, it's about the same as Prairie Creek. Prairie Creek in their changes that they're making, they are decreasing the number of campsites that they have by half. I know they always say people are looking for work, and they are. And yet when you try to hire, it's really hard to find good quality people. I didn't see security addressed. My daughters both work at Summit Lake State Park. They've seen a lot of what goes on in the negative, but they've seen how the park handles it, and they handled it extremely well. My daughters always felt safe there. They always had a great time. We all love the park. I've been a camper. My kids have been campers. So we're not against camping, but we feel like having a private industry, a private owner of a campground, which, by the way, a lot of privately owned campgrounds have gone out of business. They've been taken over by big companies because workers want benefits. They want year-round work. And so I think security is really important. Is there going to be a fence that people can't cross between this place and the park property? Is there going to be protection there? There has been some talk about the water and the sewer, trash disposal and those kind of things, but what happens if those things are not met, our expectations? What happens if there are more sites than we think there should be, or if the number of sites, like we have a proposed layout, but what if the layout changes because of soil types? And like my house is 2 miles away and we couldn't hardly find a place to put our sewage there. So you go into a project, but there can be a lot of changes if it's not maintained well, if it's not, the garbage isn't picked up. Where is the sewage going? It's being picked up by DODOT, but then where do they take it? How is that going to be handled? When you have a park, you have control. The state has absolutely, control. If we don't like whoever's coming to the park, they're not behaving well, we boot them out. They can't come back. But what do we do here? So thank you.
Okay, and did you sign in?
I did.
You did, okay.
What was your name? Kristen Lamont. Thank you. You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Joel Gibson. I'm Summer's husband that's just up here talking. And just a piece that she forgot, we are avid campers as well. We haven't done as much of it with our kids older. Paul on a Division I athlete around. But like she said, she runs 7-9 miles daily. That's where we concentrate from. But with being an avid camper, I have stayed at Summit Lake, our favorite place to stay. And I challenge all of you to ask yourself, why hasn't the state made more? Why haven't they made 108 campsites? Well, that comes with a lot more. They want to keep it quiet. They want to keep it clean. They don't want the trash. They don't want the sewage. As far as the neighbors around there, it seems like to me, this is 15 acres trying to make some money that's going to affect a lot of neighbors around there. And that 108 campers, I know you can only have some campgrounds, you can have 2, 3, 4 vehicles. That would be my question to Mike. How many vehicles can we have? 108 times 2, That's a lot more traffic. I don't care what anybody in this room says. And if you don't think that's going to be an issue for your kids in the state park campground, what's State Park think of this? Rumor has it, they're not big fans of it. But, just a lot more to think about than just the campground, and there's campers out there. Where does these year-round campgrounds usually tend to be? This isn't your type of area for that. That's my opinion on it, and just want to challenge you guys to look at it from different angles than just there's millions of campers looking for a camp spot. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Doug McClellan. I am representing the Lacey Farm that sits directly a quarter mile to the east, the very first property. They have been there for 51 years. And when the park was originally put in, the traffic is just horrible. My 80-year-old mother-in-law cannot walk down the road because of the traffic. The grandkids cannot ride their bicycles in the street because of the traffic. And that's just with the park itself. When they first bought that property, it was just barren field. They planted every tree on that property to be able to get away from noise and traffic and drinking and crime and stuff that goes with camping sometimes, not all the time. I understand that. One of my concerns too, who's going to police this? Is the Henry County Sheriff's Department going to police it? Because I don't care what campground it is, there's always trouble eventually. And with that, I'll let you go. Thank you.
My name's Craig Swovland. I live directly to the south of the property. We're very opposed to the proposal of the rezoning of this adjacent property. We're concerned about the property values, the environmental and quality of the life for the nearby residents. This area has been rural and agricultural, not commercial, for a long period of time. The RV park would bring constant noise, traffic, and we are worried about trespassing and theft and vandalism. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kim Swovlin, and that was my husband just speaking. We live on the property just south of the proposed rezoning. My worry is that this would change our quiet area into a busy short-term destination for others, and that change couldn't be undone. More people walking around or near our property lines and the state park could mean more trespassing, whether intentional or not, and that's a big safety concern of mine. RV parks require significant water use and a reliable wastewater disposal system. And if that's not properly designed or maintained, septic or gray water could contaminate nearby wells or streams that feed into Summit Lake. An RV park brings a constant flow of strangers to the area who don't live here and don't always have a long-term connection to our community. That increases my concerns about privacy, safety, theft, and vandalism that my husband spoke of. The close-knit, trusting feeling of our rural community could be lost. This kind of development also puts extra pressure on our local roads, the fire departments, and emergency services, which are already pretty limited in our rural area. Our community values peace, privacy, natural beauty, and taking care of the land. And this rezoning would replace all of that with traffic, noise, and short-term use. I respectfully ask the Planning Commission to deny this rezoning request and protect the rural character of our community and the nearby state park. I thank you for taking the time to consider this. Thank you.
Another 7 minutes and 24 seconds. I'm just doing the. Yeah, you're doing the 3
Each
minutes, yeah.
time.
Yeah, I've got the 20. Oh, my God.
My name's Bill Wagner. I live on 600 North. I got two concerns. One, since they fixed my road, which I was grateful they fixed, I've almost got hit. Me and the dog walked down there and I've only got hit twice. I'm also a road builder and I've started excavating when I was 18 years old and I'm 64 years old. Whoever told you that Mexico Road would handle all that traffic is lying. There isn't a road out there can handle all that traffic. So you need to take in consideration. Thank you.
I'm Patricia Odell. I have land that is directly to the east of this property that wants to be constructed. I can tell you that my husband and I had 120 acres there. He's deceased. We have had numerous problems with vandalism on the farm. I give him credit for wanting to do a business there, but we also constructed 13 mobile home park in Modoc, Indiana, several years ago. The immense work that was done, we had cement pads, we had electric, all of that. There needed to be a manager on duty all the time. For 108 spaces, I think it's going to be overwhelming. I would like to challenge you to go and take a look and see what there is there. See what the prospects are for him to do that. I think the sewage will be a problem. With 108 people, he will have a continuous person to have to take care of that. The traffic is a problem. But more than that, I do want to see the Summit Lake continue to grow. I don't understand why they want it next to them. If they want that, I think they should build it. I do believe that there needs to be consideration all the way around for the county, for the traffic, for Summit Park, for the people that live there. And consider that it is still rural and we want to keep it that way. Thank you.
4 minutes, 34 seconds.
Hi, my name's Patrina Cross. I live across from Summit Lake. I live on 500. I own 90 acres. I came basically at first to talk about the sewage. I don't want the water to run over and, affect my crops. I have a stream that runs into Summit Lake that helps feed Summit Lake. But the main reason after I've thought about it is I want to know about security. I want to know what kind of, are they going to allow golf carts? Are they going to allow, or things like that? My daughter was murdered 2 years ago, right at Prairie Creek. She was hit and ran down by a golf cart, and then they were intoxicated, so they hit or were trying to hide it. And it got worse. And that's all I'm going to say about that part. But there has to be security if they're going to have, because like the other gentleman said, you have a campground, people want to relax, they want to start drinking, they don't watch their children. Who's going to be worrying about, if the kids are running around, if there is people out there that could harm their children? So security needs to be number one looked at. And, why can't they start out at like 50 campers? And then if it works and there's room and it's not trashy, it's not going to, because I guarantee you bring a business like that, my 90 acres, my taxes are going up. And if all of a sudden, if you go up to Prairie Creek, it's so trashy, from people bringing their horses out there, all that ground has been like destroyed by ATVs. So I think you should look at that. Yes.
We have another 2.5 minutes if somebody else would like to speak. Anybody else? Okay, at this time, okay.
Doug McClellan, representing Lacey Farm. I have personal friends that live by Prairie Creek Reservoir, the campgrounds, and they are tickled to death that that is moving out of there.
Okay.
Thank you.
1:33.
Okay, at this time, we're going to review our notes and, would you please come back up to see if we have any questions that we need to ask?
Are you prepared to answer any of the complaints that they've said?
Yeah,
Security.
yeah.
Water problem. Manager?
Sure.
So,
Same, been talked about here this afternoon.
first
Okay.
and foremost, we want to thank everyone who brought all those concerns, honestly. Michael wants to run a great business for this town. It's good to know what other experiences have been and what the concerns are so that he can address them. I do want to make sure that we're clear that since this is just the rezoning phase of this, the actual plan may get modified by the state or by the need for drainage or something. So none of that is set in stone. Phase 1 is only 40 sites. That is what he intends to start with. So it is a multi-phased approach. And if it's too much, it's too much. But the actual day-to-day operations, the manager, the security, whether golf carts are allowed, that we're at a loose business plan point. So I don't want to speak for you, but I don't think any of those decisions are final and we're still working through what that will be. So it's really whether this site is an appropriate place for the ideal campground, right?
We will be marketing as a premium campground, and to control some of the concerns, we'll be putting an age limit on the campers that can come in as the permanent campers. And that'll be set, we're gonna start out at 10 years. It can be 10 years old or newer. We think that will deter a lot of what they was describing as the trashy or the unwanted campers. We will also control some of that through our pricing. We'll have it priced as the premium camping. So we, be able to control a lot of those concerns that way. It is if I'm able to move forward, it is in my plan to meet with the sheriff, meet with the sheriff's deputies, have them come out, see the facilities, see the entrances, in case there is an emergency, per se, a lost child, to where we could lock down and they know the ins and outs of it. It would also, we're going to welcome the road deputies to come in and use the restrooms if they need to, stop in and get a drink, water, coffee, something of that nature, and welcome them as well to patrol through the park as they, please. The presence of the sheriffs, would be more than welcome.
One of the individuals mentioned, like a security fence. I would think you would have that idea down now that is either a yes or no.
There will be a fence around it. Now, as far as it being a security fence, I don't know at this point. A fence is only as good as the people who are willing to stay inside of it. Once they go out of it, they can walk around it. The state park's not fenced in. You know, they have a walking trail that goes right adjacent to my property. I have it, I'm over there almost daily. I've spent numerous hours over there over the last 3 years. I haven't had anybody wander onto my property. I haven't witnessed any vandalism, no trespassing. You know, so, yeah, we will have some sort of fence. Again, that's only as good as the people willing to abide by those rules.
Well, that is under the jurisdiction of the Henry County Sheriff, so they would be the ones policing it if there were ever an issue. You said April through November, so this would be similar to the Yogi Bear Park in Knightstown.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Our county code requires a fence around the campground.
With a fence?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to have a fence.
Okay, and your LP gas and dumpsters?
Yeah, and then there were several concerns about the sewer, gray water and that. With us using the septic tanks, that there will be no runoff. There will be, you know, that we're not, I had looked into doing a small package plant to treat the water and to put it back into the system. That wasn't going to be feasible for me. So that's why we went with the septic tanks and the pump out idea.
And you said phase one would be 40, so that would be it'd be less than one page of this instead of
Right.
the double page. Would that be this page probably near the entrance and the
Yes.
camp store?
Yes,
That would be the priority on phase one.
great.
I don't know, Tom, what kind of requirements the state, how many hoops they have to go through, or what does the state address of the concerns? I mean, I know there's several steps that the state requires, check this, check that, check that.
If it's 10 or more campsites, we don't have control of it. The state does.
Okay,
The state will set their criteria, review what they propose, or tell them what they can propose. And until now, we hadn't discussed that it was going to be a phased in. I don't know how that works with the state. I don't know if they go to the state and say, this is where we're going to start out, and then we're going to fill in between these spots. It's a state issue. All we're addressing right now is the
rezone.
area properly meet our code for development like this. Right now, it does not. It's not zoned properly.
So they can't proceed with anything with the current zoning.
Yeah, right. And one of the things, you have to have the proper zoning for the state to be able to pass on their plan.
So a lot of the concerns that were addressed, and I agree, I think people have done their research and they have really brought up some good points tonight, which I appreciate as a planning commissioner. Any one of those could be addressed or poo-pooed by the state, it sounds like, I mean, or required by the state before they move forward.
That's probably correct. Yes.
And you said the pad size were 50 by 80?
Yes, the campsite size is, yes.
And at the actual site, you'd allow for one vehicle?
There'll be room for one vehicle or two. If they have one, there'll be room for a boat. But there'll be room for at each site for two vehicles.
Okay. I think the main concern that I've heard expressed, and so is our highway superintendent and people concerned about traffic and road use. I'm less concerned personally with campsite of 40 than I am of 108. I think that's going to create a tremendous amount of issues where the manager, I think, would be a requirement for a campground that size. Security, I think, would be a requirement for a campground that size, but the traffic on the roads, I know we're limited in what we can fund the roads, and that's predominantly by what the state allows us to get through funding from the legislature. The road might have been originally planned for a certain number, but I think Corey said 350,000 people visit that state park, which is far greater than I'd ever would have calculated. And this would add to that. So I guess my concerns, I have concerns also, but it sounds like the state's gonna, if we were to approve it, the state was gonna go through a whole litany of requirements. It may never come back to Henry County because they may cut it off at the knees.
We would pledge to come back to that commission approved use hearing with more details on the business plan.
In concept, we're looking at rezoning for a purpose. What's your time frame? If we rezone it then you got to do all this other stuff, the details, get down to the,
We have enough of the plans certified by engineers to get submitted to the state.
Yeah, if my plan is to hopefully break ground yet this spring and be open with the first phase by April of 2027.
well, you're dealing with the state, so good luck on that, but no, seriously, it sounds like you're thinking about what you need to do. But the traffic thing, it was a problem to start with. And you can't keep people out. They like the place. And when we built it, we tried to improve the road at the time for what they thought, they being the consultants, would come to the park. The state really needs to have more of a, well, financial, I think, in that road, but I don't know how you get that changed. But anyway, so you're thinking you'd be ready for final approval to the details in 6 months or a month or what? After this, when would you be ready for the?
I'm ready to go through the next step to get my commissioner approval yet this month, if I could get into that meeting, next month at the latest. And then move forward this spring.
I think Tom's wanting the state stuff back.
I'm done, go ahead.
Would it be best that we table this tonight till we get a little bit more laid out plans on what you're planning on doing? And would it set you back too much if we table this a month?
Respectfully, that wouldn't be helpful because we can't get to that point till we've gone to the state, and we can't go to the state till we have the appropriate zoning. So all the dominoes have to fall in order.
The reason why I say that is it seems like there's some questions that's not being able to be answered here tonight, for sure. Like we talked about a manager, a full-time manager
We'll have a full-time manager on site.
on site all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. You're talking about starting out with 40 units? And what's the plan? Is that it for this year, or are you going to increase more than
No, that'll be it for this year.
40
We're gonna
40
start-
sites, 40 sites? And on the traffic, have you thought anything about traffic?
I have. I've considered the traffic, and like I said, that road is nonstop traffic from the time camping season starts till it ends, and that's 7 days a week around the clock. Obviously it will increase the traffic, but I don't think you will notice the increase in traffic just because of how heavily traffic it is.
Well, it could be good and bad. If you got traffic, there's activity,
Sure.
but you'd have some controls also,
And it's literally an inevitable part of economic growth.
Yeah.
So it may be part of a
Right.
bigger discussion with the commissioners. Does the road need widened? Does it need repaired? Does it need a turn lane?
Say the road is not in good shape. On our PACER rating, Messick Road is at a 4, which is not good. It's actually very bad. And knowing what the highway department's facing and what we're doing right now, and with the cutbacks from the state, we're going to have a heck of a time fixing that road. And I don't know where that money's going to come from. So I have concerns there. I also have concerns with the number of campsites. I am a little bit more, the fact that you're doing 40 starting out is a little more acceptable. The 100 and some, I drove out there and looked at the property. I commend you on a premium location, because if I was going to do what you're doing, that's where I'd do it. And I know that if you own property around a state park, it's logical to assume that you're going to have people who are wanting to sell boats, campers, fishing equipment and whatnot, firewood and everything else. I've wondered that most of the businesses that seem to start there don't seem to be able to maintain or hold on. And I question why that is. The issues that was brought up about Prairie Creek, I've seen those, and I know there's a lot of things going on there. I'm a little concerned with being able to dispose of the waste and in the compact areas that you're at. no more land than's there. It's just, there's a lot to be placed on there, in my opinion, but, I think the idea is good. I don't know how this board would vote, but I just worry about how we're going to maintain the things that, we're trying to put in there with the budgets that we have the county to assist in anything that we're going to have to do, and the constant pumping out of septic tanks. I thought maybe you're actually putting in a full-fledged system, but I don't know how it would be so astronomically large to cover the area that you're wanting to do, that wouldn't be practical either. So, and I understand the security issues. That's another thing that, we've heard a lot of this evening, and it does raise some concerns, and that's what, going to what Dale's saying, I think we have some more questions that we're not sure we have answers for yet.
Do you want to?
Yeah. How are your plans set up for expansion? Could you put in, we're talking about a lesser number here, like 40, like Steve was mentioning. If you're planning set up so you could start out initially and easily expand if it worked out, or is this something you just want 100 to start with?
Oh, no, no, it won't be the 100 to start with. It has been designed, my design group out of Akron, Ohio. They design the campgrounds, and it was designed to be phased in.
That's what I thought.
Where the first phase stops, the next phase will be able to plug right in and continue on. If it takes off like I believe it will, after the first phase, which would be the first year, then we would add a few amenities each year as we grow our campsite number as well.
Well, the reason I bring that up is the issue, not issues, but thoughts that are brought up about traffic and control. And if you start out with a smaller amount, then you can kind of work with that over years. But if you throw it all there at once, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, no, it won't be all at once.
At what point would you want us to commit to that? Is that something we bring back for the CAU?
Or your phased-in plan?
Yeah, to limit
I
them.
would say that would be appropriate at that point. It really doesn't have anything to do with zoning at this point. I understand the questions and the implication of the questions. They're going to be asked either now or later. What might happen later could have impact on their decision. Not what's appropriate now is to determine if that is if those conditions can handle it. Is it an appropriate area to develop that?
I was simply going to say, I would feel much better with a 40 than a 180. That page 2 concerns me, and I think it concerns a lot of people in this room. I think an upper end campground is probably warranted, but the traffic, the security, the oversight, the management. I mean, this has a lot of amenities. As a camper, I would really gravitate to. And I know getting into the park itself, the state park, if you don't reserve, especially on Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, if you don't reserve it like the first week that it's opened up in March on the state site for state campgrounds, you're not going to get it. I mean, you might get a night here during the weekday, but you're not going to get a weekend. So probably it would warrant and would be a nice amenity to Henry County, but you're biting off an awful lot. I don't know if you can chew or not. What if you find out at this first year you have 40, that's probably going to meet the demand, and maybe this 108 is not going to be economically feasible. I mean, I know you're looking at it as a business plan, and the more campsites, the more revenue, but you might find out this is all you can handle, and this meets the demand.
And if that does, then I'll be glad that I didn't build the whole thing at once.
I would
I'll be
think
glad that I
so.
did it in phases, and then I'll be able to stop where the demand stops.
Well, I feel decent about this. I'm very concerned about a campground of 108 for all the reasons mentioned tonight.
Okay, does anybody have any other questions or comments? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your consideration.
Okay, at this time, the Planning Commission can recommend an approval, a denial, an approval with modifications for this proposed zoning change. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Is this, you say this is a CAU, is this going to have the 3 questions? I'm always questioning these procedures.
This is just the zoning. This is not the CAU.
And the commissioners get this next,
They would get this next.
and they'll have the same questions we had tonight.
I don't know. There's one right there.
I know. I've heard some of his questions.
I don't think we know what the commissioners would ask, and in all fairness, they will probably ask the same questions, but they would probably be more critical of the impact to highway department, overall infrastructure of the area, sanitation issues, whatever. I think the all the water runoff, I think you're going to have to put a retention pond on there last I saw. Isn't that correct?
There's one on the map.
So that's been, that much has been addressed, but that's all that's been addressed.
Sorry. So when you say we can make a recommendation of approval with modifications, we've had very few of those. I mean,
And what modifications would you?
that's the question. I mean, what,
That would be I think that would be the question. And if you don't have any idea what those modifications would be, I don't know what that is. A modification could be, since one of the criteria is that, I'll read you the criteria in our code for development. If you missed that page in your briefing, HB1 districts are established for highway-oriented businesses requiring large tracts of land, but generally considered to be low traffic generators. HB2 districts are established to provide for highway-oriented intensive uses or high-traffic generators. Which one would this be? Which is why we left it open to HB1 or HB2, which might be, either one would be applicable, which would be how you would rezone it.
well, number 5 on their rezone request says, the question being, does the proposed amendment reflect responsible standards for growth and development? And right underneath that says, the current zoning of highway business is a poor fit for the area and could lead to undesirable development or growth in the area. Is that straight from our comprehensive plan or development code? Because
The HB1 code, which I just read for you, calls for that kind of development. There's no other HB1 or HB2 in the area.
okay,
And those would generally be considered to be on major or possibly minor feeder roads. This is a county road.
so or the bait shop that was alluded to, is it highway business down the road near 36? Do we know if that's zoned?
Yeah, it's a general business.
Okay,
Interesting, the one that's just almost across from their property, which is zoned general business. I had that somewhere. Anyway, it probably shouldn't have been general business because it doesn't meet the criteria. But that was in the past. I didn't do it. I wasn't here. I don't know who did that.
shame on them.
So it didn't meet the criteria in the development code.
But it's,
And it was never developed. It was rezoned that quite a while ago. Do we remember? We looked it up, but it was quite a while ago. It was rezoned. The one almost across from Michael's property. Yeah.
so it'd be inappropriate to make a recommendation of approval with the modification of security and fencing because all that comes later or could be determined by the state or.
That much is true. I mean, with modification could be, well, yeah, if we turn it into a 4-lane road or a modification of the road has to be widened. I don't exactly know what allowable modifications would be.
So we couldn't.
There is
say-
nothing in
We'd
our
make a
code that says-
recommendation for approval based on it being limited to the 40. We cannot do that.
We can do that when you do a CAU for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That's where that would be appropriate.
Ken, and one of the things in the zone.
That's why it's just a rezone at this point.
and they can't do anything, and the state can't look at anything, and the commissioners can't look at anything unless we approve it. But it has a lot of steps and
It
limitations down the road conceivably.
It does.
Well, Ken, and one of the things in the zoning section 1, item I, it states that we need to limit congestion in the public roads, and that is a big concern for me, especially with the superintendent of the highway department saying this road cannot take this amount of additional traffic in its current condition, and based on the rating of 4, and the county does not have any plans to do anything with that road in the future or near future. So I'm not sure. And based on the general provisions of zoning, limiting congestion in public roads, and it seems like that's one of the number one issue, I think, is just the road. And being on it, it's extraordinarily bouncy as it is.
It is a big thing to have extra traffic, but the whole area was designed for traffic. That's why we put it in. Summit Lake was for people. Now, part of what Michael said, which is true, people come in there and they can't camp, so they turn around and leave. But that's not additional traffic. You're already getting that traffic. So, and as far as the road, it's just something that somewhere down the road, we're going to have to commit to maintain that road somehow. If you're going to have that, and everybody says it's a great thing. I was there when the first soil boring was done. I know it's a great thing, but you're going to have to do a commitment. Maybe that EDC and a few other people, we may have to put some money in that road. I mean, I just can't accept that we would kill something because the road's not good enough. I know it's bad. It was bad the first time we ever went up to Summit Lake, but it's better. It got better. So I would be opposed to just using that only as an excuse. Well, I know that. No, I'm not picking on you, Marcia. But that's just the way it is. When you put 2,589 acres into a park, you're going to have traffic.
Well, 350,000
and you want people to use it.
people, that's a lot of traffic currently.
So my point is, we're going to have to figure out a way. I know money's tight. I'm well aware of that. But that's very important to make that accessible because the park's there. When you took that 2,589 acres out of the tax base, Blue River School got hurt. But you have a park, and so you can make some of that money back. But you're not going to get back if you don't allow additional things to happen. This parcel needs to be rezoned, period. But there's conditions, and I agree to that. There ought to be conditions, and we've heard them. But to just say, well, you can't do it because there's traffic, you knew he's going to have traffic when we built the thing. So that's something that needs to be addressed more so than just saying, well, it's a traffic's reason we can't do this. I don't buy that.
How long is that from 36 to the entrance of the park? Like 2 miles?
Or a mile, maybe at the most.
How much?
Is it
Just 1 mile?
It'd be a mile, yep.
If we can't come up with
Be a mile.
monies for 1 mile, we're,
Yeah.
Actually, we can't currently.
I guess another,
Do you want me to answer that one?
Anybody here know how to use a blacktop machine, a paver?
I guess my question out of all of this, why has the park not added more camping space if,
Good question. I was wondering if there's been any dialogue between you and Department of Natural Resources.
What's that question?
Has there been any conversation
There has.
between you and the Department of Natural Resources and their campground and future plans versus what you're
I've
trying?
been back in the park several times. They've been a wonderful neighbor through this project. I started talking to them and when I first began the project. Nikki Lacrone is the manager of the park. I've been very open and candid with her of what I've got going on. She has been to the property several times with questions, concerns, and we've worked well together with it. I believe the park is currently looking at expanding their number of campsites. And I don't know that that was prior to my project or since my project, but I think they have also noticed that there's a need for additional camping in the area. And I believe my campground will complement the park as well.
Well, in saying that, if they do, it's still gonna have traffic.
Yeah,
It ain't gonna help traffic, you know.
that
at a
traffic
crazy-
is nonstop
Yeah.
all day long.
I just like to say, in my opinion, I've sat here and listened to everybody. I don't think anybody is status quo against it. It's the main concern is the issues like traffic, security, the manager, and things like that. And I feel like you have touched on that, and hopefully that you could be a good neighbor, which that's what it's all about, being good neighbors, and we can see all this come about. And in saying that, I make a motion we approve this.
I've got one more comment that if the state expands their campground, you're not going to get any tax base from that. If he puts his in, I think we'll get some tax money, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Could be quite a bit, but you won't get a dime out of the state. They don't pay taxes. All right, Tom or Steve? Do we get money from any of that property up there?
No, it'd be-
No.
Not the state.
No, state, and that's wrong because we provide services to the state, fire, sheriff, everything that they need, but yet they don't pay us. So if you're going to choose between the state expanding theirs or putting his in, money wise, it's much better because he's going to pay tax.
Yeah, there'll be a good tax base. Based on the fact that they're starting with 40, everything else I've heard, and the fact this has to go through a CAU and multiple steps and requirements from the state of Indiana, I'll second that motion.
Okay, so Dale motioned. The motion is to go ahead and approve this and the rezone, and you're seconding it?
Yes.
Okay, so at this time, we need to take a roll call vote.
Yes, and are we going to do this as HB1 or HB2?
Hang on a minute.
I second it, but is it an either or?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have no just plain
Yeah, yeah.
HB.
Well, I don't have in front of me the allowances of HB1 and 2. Is that part of our package?
HB1 districts are established for highway-oriented businesses requiring large tracts of land, but generally considered to be low traffic generators.
Well, that doesn't seem to apply.
Okay?
No.
HB2 districts are established to provide for highway-oriented intensive uses or high traffic generators.
Well, the high traffic generation's current, this will just add to it. So I would say it probably more accurately fall under HB2.
Okay, so the motion by Dale and then Kenan added to that is that it be approved as an HB2.
Yeah, rezone from ag to HB2.
Okay, this will be our 5 questions for a rezone and a roll call vote. Is the proposed amendment consistent with the goal, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan? Marcia Gratner,
Yes.
Steve Dellinger,
Yes.
Ken Gray,
Yes.
Dale Cole, David Fisher,
Yep.
Sheldon Dines, Stephanie Adams.
Yes.
Is the proposed amendment Oh, well, that's it. Yeah. Is the proposed amendment compatible with the current conditions and the overall character of the development in the immediate vicinity of the subject property?
Can you say that one more time? I didn't quite hear.
Is the proposed amendment compatible with the current conditions and the overall character of the development in the immediate vicinity of the subject property? Everybody got that? Marcia Gratner,
Yes.
Steve Dellinger,
Yes.
Ken Gray.
Is there a maybe? Yes.
Here. Oh, no maybes. Dale Cole. David Fisher. Sheldon Dines. Stephanie Adams.
Yes.
Is the proposed, this is question 3. Is the proposed amendment the most desirable use for which the subject property is adapted? Marcia Gratner,
No.
Steve Dellinger,
Sure there's not a maybe.
Already asked that.
no, still no maybes.
No.
Ken and Gray,
I'll say yes.
Dale Cole, David Fisher, Sheldon Dine, Stephanie Adams.
No.
Will the proposed amendment have an adverse effect on the values of properties throughout the jurisdiction? Marcia Gratner,
Say that one more time.
will the proposed amendment have an adverse effect on the values of properties throughout the jurisdiction?
Thought we couldn't answer that the last time because we don't have any idea what that.
Yeah.
We didn't, we only.
Yeah, we've looked at that before, so, so,
None of us here would be able to answer that.
yeah,
Have to be a real estate agent.
we didn't take it off we didn't take it off from this
Or,
last one, so,
or licensed appraiser,
right.
be able
Yeah.
to know
I
that.
meant to cross it off, but, okay, so let's see, we have, those are the 3 questions there. Where'd we end up with? 1, 2, 3,
First 2 and.
Yeah.
3 no's.
3 no's and 3 yeses.
4 yeses.
Well, we have 4 yeses, so that's a majority. Motion passes.
And this goes
This goes to the
next to the
commissioners
commissioners for,
for their consideration on the rezone.
with similar questions, issues, concerns. Good luck.
I need to cross those off.
Okay, with that, then we will move on to old business. Do we have any old business?
Hey, old man, do we have any old business?
I got a question.
Okay, do we have any?
My attorney ain't been here.
He had a previous engagement.
Huh?
He had a previous engagement, could be.
And do,
What?
You get paid?
No.
Well, I'm considering not paying him for this one.
okay, do we have any new business?
Only to approve the meeting days and times, if you want to take that up.
Okay,
We presently have it planned for the 3rd Thursday of every month.
To continue as normal.
oh yeah, hang on a minute.
Can I make a motion that we continue as is unless somebody comes up with a significant reason that we need to change it?
I don't think we have any changes, no. So approval,
We were somewhat constrained by when we could have meetings, especially since everything's
Sure,
forced out
yeah.
here. And we did check with the sheriff's office and they don't have anything regularly at that time.
okay. So the dates, I got so much paperwork here, hang on a minute. Have you got the dates? I was gonna say, I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, third Thursday of every month.
Thank you.
No other issue with any of the. dates.
Okay, do you need to take a roll call or just a yes?
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
Yeah, yes or no?
Okay.
How about